I'm Sasha Lockley and I am the founder and CEO of Money Sweet Spot. We're the only lender that celebrates when we lose customers. We help people out of debt and on with their lives. We started 2 years ago because people are good. Bad things can happen to any of us, but the finance system, when a bad thing happens to you, you get charged 35% interest, you get excluded. That means that people cannot live their life. Who has debt here? Does anybody have debt? Who has buy now, pay later? Yep. Yeah, no, oh, really? Nobody has buy now, pay later? I don't believe you. I don't believe you. $1.7 billion worth of spend a year, that's all on you, my lady. I used to work for a finance company called Avanti Finance that was part of the problem. And every day I used to go to work and I'd hear stories of people facing really challenging times. Cancer diagnosis, a loss of job, meant that they weren't able to stay on top of their bills and life became a real struggle. But I'm a middle-class white woman. How fucking dare you think you can in any way empathise? Sorry, I'm not looking at you as a middle-class white woman. How fucking dare you, Sasha, think that you can in any way empathise with the stories of these customers, the challenges that they're facing? How dare you get upset? And I was driving over the Harbour Bridge one day in October 2019 and I realised that the reason I cared so deeply and I was so affected by the stories of these customers was because they were the story of my own family. I grew up in a place called Stafford, and when I was young, my dad had a bus company. It was doing all right. Then my granddad died. He's a dairy farmer. The cows needed milking. What that meant for our family was that I hid behind a sofa away from debt collectors. My dad's a good person, a bad thing happened. He's now 68, living in a council flat without any curtains because that debt was debilitating for him. It took away his sense of self, his sense of purpose, and he never recovered. Good person that a bad thing happened to. And my mum died at 58 and an alcoholic. Addiction took her. She ended up in a council flat. She ended up losing her business, her families, her relationship, and that addiction took it from her. Does that make her a bad person? No. Debt was debilitating, debt was defining, and addiction defined her life, and she passed away as an alcoholic. And then I was working at the Serious Fraud Office, and I was 29. It's great. I'm a forensic accountant, don't you know? Who would have thought? And I thought that my 2-year-old would be better if I wasn't on this planet. I had a nervous breakdown. I did lose my marriage, my relationships, friendships, and nearly my career. And I know that I'm a good person that a bad thing can happen to. But too often in society, the finance system judges you when something bad and unpredictable happens. And that's not fair, and it's not okay. Once I knew that, driving over the Harbour Bridge, that the stories of those customers, the stories of those people were actually the stories of my family, I knew I had to do something about it. So we created Sweet Spot. We do one thing, we consolidate debt up, which is marvellous. But how we're innovative is that we're the first finance company in the world, until somebody tells me otherwise, that incentivises the engagement in financial education. So if you engage in financial education literacy, I know, you get money off your loan, you get out of debt faster. We focus on losing customers. In the last 2 years, we've lost 70 customers. How cool is that, right? So we just do business better. I'm watching that time. In the last 2 years, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our story. We've helped 650 families reset $16 million worth of high-cost debt. They were paying over 30% interest on that debt. Some of those people had had credit cards for 15 years and only ever paid the minimum. When you're juggling debt over and over again, you cannot think, dream, grow. So we reset them. We've lost 70 customers. They now have first homes. They've been able to breathe again. On top of that, though, our customers have engaged in the financial education. They have engaged in 12,000 pieces of financial education. That's given them $24,000 extra off their loan. But it's just good business sense. Because if people know more about money, they know how to manage their life, they're more likely to repay the loan, they're more likely to get out of debt, and we can get on with our lives. On top of all of that, we thought that really you should join being generous with getting out of debt. So we've decided to partner with the Good Registry. So if people stay on track with getting out of debt, they get to donate to causes they care about through our partnership with the Good Registry, because we believe that people should be able to be generous even if they are working on getting out of debt. Final piece from me in 20 seconds is that we are a genuine better business model. We did a $1.5 million raise 2 years ago. We've still got $400,000 in the bank. We're cash neutral and doing better business each and every day. This is not philanthropic, it's just a better way of doing business. Kia ora.